Hello, my name is Jim Covington and I welcome you to this week's edition of ISBA Statehouse Review. We're going to have 4 issues we're going to talk about this week. The first one is not legislation, it's rules. In 2006, the federal government passed the Deficit Reduction Act of 2006, and it required all the states to implement rules to do this, and it affects Medicaid eligibility for our seniors and their families who support those seniors and vice versa. And there is going to be a hearing on September 13th next week in the Thompson Center on Tuesday at 11 o'clock, on the proposed rules by the Healthcare and Family Services. These rules are going to affect asset transfers of seniors and their families and affect Medicaid eligibility. If you go to the General Assembly website at www.ilga.gov and click on the button that says Legislative Support Agencies, it will take you to a page where you can find the Joint Committee on Administrative Rules, which is called JCAR. JCAR's mission with state government is to regulate on how these rules are implemented and proposed and approved, and that should be up on their agenda as we speak now. I invite you to take a look at those because it's going to affect anyone who does any estate planning or anyone who has older parents or relatives. ISBA has opposed the proposed rules in the past, and we're waiting to see what these new rules look like. Part of the problem was the implementation period. It's my understanding it might actually be a October 1 of 2011 effective date, which gives us 13 business days to adjust, which I don't think is going to be anyone is going to be able to do, including Healthcare and Family Services. The second bill I want to talk about is Public Act 97-578, which takes effect January 1 of 2012, and it affects sex offenders registration. This bill basically does 2 things. It requires a sex offender or sexual predator who has successfully completed a 10-year registration period to re-register again under 2 conditions, and that one of those is that if he or she is convicted of any felony after July 1 of this year, and the offense for which they were registered before for 10 years has been increased to 25 or natural life. The other thing the bill does is requires any sex offender or sexual predator who has never been required to register before to register if they are convicted of any felony after July 1 of 2011. This dovetails in with our third issue, which is the Senate Bill 1040, which is not law, but it may be an issue in the fall veto session. Senate Bill 1040 is an initiative to implement the Adam Walsh Act, which was created by the federal government. And the federal government said if you do certain things in regards to sex offenders, we'll give you an extra 10%. You will not lose 10% of your burn funding from the Department of Justice. The problem has been, as Texas and some other states have found out, that the Illinois is at risk of losing $1.16 million, but as Texas has found out, the cost of implementing the Adam Walsh Act could be much higher. Texas estimated it was going to cost $38 million to implement the Adam Walsh Act in their state, and has so far chosen not to do so. The Senate Bill 1040 does a number of things. It increases the registration period for sex offenders from 10 years to 25 or natural life, depending on the crime. There are some concerns with it that the juveniles, consensual sexual acts between juveniles will lead to registration under this bill, even if it's consensual, where the crux of the crime is the age difference between the 2 teenagers. So there are some concerns on how it affects juveniles who are more apt to be rehabilitated than older offenders. The fourth and final thing I want to talk to you about is on the ISBA webpage under the Illinois Lawyer Now button, our electronic magazine and blog. I encourage you to go to that because the Department of Public Health has now put up all of the Advance Directives on its website. We link to that from our website, which is www.isba.org. We link to that, and they've also put these Advance Directives up in Spanish, which could be very helpful to your practice. And we will see you again next week. Thank you.